How's it going, everybody? This is Rice Bonds, Montana DeYoung, back here with you again. I have the pleasure of a one-day mail day that is extremely special to me. It's a big deal. There aren't that many cards out there from the 90s of Barry Bonds that I still need and have any shot or prayer of actually landing. And this one fell into my lap the way sometimes the perfect card tends to do. So I was on the Facebook group the other day, the one that is all about 90s baseball inserts. And this was actually not just the other day, it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe as much as a month ago, when this deal went down. I've just been so busy in the interim that the package has just been sitting there on a side table for weeks while I found the time to finally open it. And it's just been sort of, boring a hole in my brain as I waited for the opportunity to finally open it. So I'm glad to be able to do it on camera with you guys today. Alright, so without further ado, let me just open this. The action of opening a card on camera while I'm facing the camera is still a little bit awkward for me, so bear with me, guys. This is a huge card for me because it completes a rainbow that I really never thought that I would have an honest shot at completing. Those are famous, premature words, I think, for any collector who's spent any time in the hobby, because eventually I feel like almost all cards come up and you will have at least one or two licks at almost any card your heart desires in your collecting career. And so a collector by the name of Casey, who collects Jeter, went on to the Facebook group and said, does anybody want these cards that are not part of my personal collection? I think he picked it up from a larger collection that he bought, which had some Jeters in it that he wanted. And then, of course, like any good collector will do, you keep those cards you want and then you sell off everything else, and oftentimes you can break even or even come out on top if you are judicious about the kind of lot you go for and you kind of know your values. So I reached out via PM and we discussed it. He really said from the very beginning that he had no interest in keeping the card. He wasn't going to act as if this was some huge card from his PC. And he said that he actually has seen some of my videos on the Essential Credentials podcast and on my own personal channel that bears the name that I always use at the beginning of these things, Rice Bonds Montana DeYoung, and that he would listen to me if I had some ideas on value. So I actually consulted another one of my friends who has been actively collecting bonds, and he picked up this card, another copy of this card in a steal. I think he had it is a PSA 9. He bought it in one of those auction houses that I don't even have access to. Was it Golden or Heritage? Could have been PWCC, I'm not really sure. It wasn't eBay. eBay is really the only platform that I pay any attention to. And there he established a price that he thought was too low, but it gave me a ballpark that I thought I could work with. So I said, hey, what about this range for this card? And Casey was super great about it and said, yeah, you know what, why don't we just take this amount and call it a day? And I was like, wow, thank you so much. So without further ado, here it is, the 1996 Select Certified Mirror Blue. And this completes my rainbow because right at the outset of COVID, I picked up what I and many consider to be still one of my biggest bonds cards, a 1996 Mirror Gold out of 30, unnumbered. And that was a huge pickup in 2020. And then along the way, I stumbled upon a raw copy of the Mirror Red, which I think is out of 90. Still pretty rarefied, and I've had that raw for a while, and I intend to get it graded. And then the blue just seemed like it was going to happen. You know, there's 45 copies, only 15 more than the Mirror Gold. The Mirror Gold is a unicorn. There's supposed to be 30 of them around, and nobody's seen another copy of the bonds besides the one that I own. So the fact that I was able to land this from a collector no less, and not somebody who's sort of out just to make a buck, but a collector who bought a collection and you know, all things held equal, would prefer to get cards he doesn't want to collectors who would actually appreciate them and not flip them. I'm really pleased to have this card. I don't know what kind of light you guys have, but this card is, I mean, I'm gonna have to look at it under better light. I'm gonna take a closer look right now at the quality of this card, because it is a PSA 8, and I've wondered what a PSA 8 looks like when it comes to the mirrors. The back looks quite clean. The front, there's a ding at the top left corner there, so that's really apparent. None of the corners are great, but it's a little bubbly, and I think actually that the peel is still on. I can't tell 100% certain whether it is, and I don't know how you would tell. I'm gonna have to consult an expert. But it's still a gorgeous card, an extremely rare card, already in a slab, already a PSA 8. And after my experiences grading cards recently with PSA, I've come to really respect what a PSA 8 means for a card. It means that it's a nice card, you know? I mean, there's nothing horribly wrong with the card. It's a good looking card. It's just not absolutely perfect, which for most collectors should be just fine. Especially for collectors of the 90s, where a lot of these cards are so rare. Think about it. Only 45 copies exist of this card in the entire world. And I now own one. And now I own the Mirror Red, the Mirror Blue, and the Mirror Gold all together. I don't have them all with me now. I'll have to show them off sometime when I have them all together. But thanks a lot to Casey. You hooked me up. Thank you for thinking of me when you got the card, and I appreciate you making sure that we could work out a deal and that you could get the card over to me. It's been almost a month now since we last talked. It's been a month since the deal went down, so it's been quite a while, but I'm really elated to have this card in. Like I said before, it is not a card I expected to get. It's just prices have been spiraling out of control, and you just wonder whether you're ever going to get a shot at some of these cards. And there are some cards out there that now I know, proof positive, that I will never have a shot at, unfortunately, unless I win the lottery. But to the extent that I can get these other cards that I don't have to be a billionaire for, I will continue to pursue them to the extent that I can. So anyways, thank you guys for sharing this with me. I really appreciate the community. The community's helped me so many times, time and time again. Can't say it enough. This hobby wouldn't be what it is to me or most others if it weren't for the people who are in it. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time.